Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thank you guys for being here. My name is Sophia Moreau. I am the president of the Houston Peace and Justice Center. Welcome to Healing Our Planet and Ourselves and Why Food Systems Matter. We know that health and climate are deeply interconnected. Climate change has produced intense weather pattern changes, and that intense weather patterns have exacerbated health issues, both globally and here locally in Houston. We see a rise of heat strokes, cardiovascular disease, respiratory illnesses, metabolic disorders, infectious diseases, malnutrition, and increasing mental health complications. The World Health Organization has estimated that there will be an additional 250,000 deaths annually between the years 2020 and 2030 due to these health and climate crises. We know that this is a global issue, but Houston has a hyper experience localized with these crises due to our geography, due to our history of industrial pollution, due to social and our economic inequities. Houston residents are especially vulnerable. We know that there is here in Houston a rise in chronic conditions. There are fewer medical and mental health resources. And tragically, here at home and globally, most of the communities that are most impacted are low-income families and communities of color. They are disproportionately impacted and harmed by these crises. Now, we know that for most of us, these last few years have been especially difficult. It seems that we are exposed to, on a daily basis, either directly or indirectly, some form of injustice. But when we tackle climate and health crisis together, and when we center on justice, we can create a foundation for lasting peace and resilience for all. So here today, we have two guests who will teach us and empower us by sharing their knowledge and experience. So before we get started with the panel discussion, let me first introduce you to both of them. We have Dr. Brooke Goldner, who is, yay! Woo! She is a extremely well-published and board-certified physician.
That's right.
She is a best-selling author. Goodbye Autoimmune Disease, Goodbye Lupus, and Goodbye Lupus Hello Delicious. She specializes in reversing chronic diseases by targeting nutrition protocol that optimizes cellular repair, metabolism and signaling repair, and immune function. Now, in addition to her strong academic and professional credentials, she also has a personal journey in which she has herself reversed her own lupus, and since 2005 has had 0 relapses. And she and her family were represented in People magazine this year. So we really have a lot of information she's going to share with you. And sitting next to her is Nguyen, representing as city campaigner for Plant-Based Treaty, founder of the Houston chapter of We the Free, a recent San Jacinto College Nursing School graduate.
Yeah.
Yay.
We love you, Ben. We love you.
He is also, I'm proud to say, the newest chair of a newest working group at Houston Peace and Justice Center called Kind to Earth. And Bang, as an activist, reminds us that all forms of injustice are interconnected and that the innate kindness in all of us can help change the world. So let's welcome them real quick. And hopefully we'll keep an eye on the time and hopefully we'll have a few minutes at the end, a couple of minutes where if you guys have questions. we'll let you jump in as well. So let's start with this. And Dr. Goldner, we'll start with you. Why do we need to address the food systems in our conversations about climate change and health?
So first of all, thank you all for being here today. And thank you for that great lunch to Plant-Based Treaty, right? That was amazing, right? So you're all getting introduced to the idea that you could enjoy your food and also do something that's good for yourself and the planet. Why are they connected? Well, one thing that I learned is that everything is interconnected. And when you do the right thing, it tends to be right across the board. And so what I've discovered in my life is that the way we eat affects our health. She mentioned I had lupus, and at 16 years old, I was told I had 6 months to live. And it took experimental treatments, which we all love to have, right? It took experimental treatments, chemotherapy, halting puberty, taking 7 pills a day just to save my life. And I was grateful for it. I mean, at 16, I was fighting for my life here in America, where at 16, my grandmother was in a prison camp for being Jewish during World War II. Wow. So I always still felt very grateful for the life I had and my ability to have doctors and freedom and education. And I wanted to make my life mean something. But fighting for your life while sick is hard. But I did it. Hard I could do. College, medical school, getting mini strokes in medical school. But I found purpose and passion, wanted to do something to make the world better. I stumbled into a nutrition protocol that saved my life, and then realized that that was something that I had to give back. And so my husband and I together have helped thousands of people around the world reverse these diseases. We give our nutrition protocol away for free. We help the public for free. We're here today for free. Why? Because good health should be a right for all. But what I've also found is when we eat what's best for us, it turns out it's better for the animals who live here, and it's also better for the planet. That the very same things that are killing us are creating pollution, creating dead zones in the lakes, that's creating the largest reason why they're tearing down rainforests to create more grazing land, right? That we're getting sick from diseases. The number one cause of death in our country is heart disease, which is caused by our diets. So the reason that most people lose someone they love is because of what they were eating, right?
That's right.
That's right. Thanks, Dom. So it's creating deforestation, it's creating pollution, it's creating a faster end to our planet. And so when we do the right thing for ourselves and our health, we're doing the right thing for our planet. And we get to have not only the people we love, but a place where we can all live.
Bang, do you want to answer this?
Yes, first of all, thank you everyone for joining our panel, and thank you, Dr. Brooke Goldner, for everything you do. I'd like to go more in depth about the environmental impact of current food system. So everyone, please raise your hand if you know about this fact. According to the UN, emissions from animal agriculture are larger than all transportation combined. So it's like less than half of the room. So that's exactly why we need to talk about the food systems when we talk about climate change. So even if we have the magic power to remove all the emissions from fossil fuels, animal agriculture will push the global temperature beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. And it's a leading cause of deforestation as well. So 71% of global deforestation are for animal agriculture. And so if you think of all the cities and the suburbs, they only make up 1% of habitable land. But animal agriculture make up over 40% of habitable land. So it's costing us so much, but is it really effectively feeding us? The answer is no. So when we raise animals, we usually feed them with grains like soys and beans, and that takes a lot of water and land use. So for every 100 calories of grain that we fed to animals, we only get 2 calories back from beef, or 13 calories back from poultry. In the meantime, we're having over 700 million people starving all over the world. So despite all these staggering facts, the food system and what we eat is completely missing from our cities and counties' climate action plans. So imagine, you're trying to save the ship from sinking by patching like a little hole at the front, but while ignoring a massive hole in the middle and telling ourselves that we're all going to be safe, we're going to survive. That's essentially what we're doing when we talk about fossil fuels while ignoring animal culture and its environmental impact. So it is such a massive missed opportunity to bring forward immediate and tangible change, because plant-based foods are arguably one of the most powerful and cost-effective ways to solve both climate crisis and chronic disease.
I think you hinted at the next answer, so we'll start with you on this one. Can you explain to us a little bit more about the connection between the climate crisis and health to social justice issues as a whole?
So I'm going to focus more on the climate perspective. So I'm from Vietnam originally. I came here 8 years ago. And one of the things that shocked me the most was how cheap meat is here. Because in Vietnam, meat was like a luxury. So it took me years to learn that the reason why meat and dairy products are so cheap here is because they're subsidized by the government. So in the last 2 decades, the government has sent over $70 billion of taxpayer money to fund the meat and dairy industries. And most of the money goes to the big four corporations who make up 55 to 85% of the meat market. So while only 0.04% of that number goes to support the production of produce and fruits and vegetables. So these subsidies give us like an illusion of, oh, meat is so cheap, but actually we are paying it twice. Once at the checkout counter, and again on the tax day. And they steer consumer behavior towards unhealthy and unsustainable food choices while making healthy food options less accessible. And again, it's always the underserved communities who suffer the most from these policies. So that's why it's so important that when we changing the food system, it's not just for the human health and the climate, but also about like fairness and equity as well.
Such important points. And what I would add too is that for most communities, what decides what goes into schools, for example, comes from government, right? Who's making up the dietary guidelines? Now, I've testified to the Dietary Guidelines Committee multiple times, and what I find is I go up, I get 3 minutes. I can say a lot in 3 minutes, but still it's 3 minutes. And then before and after me, we got someone representing candy, meat industry, processed meat industry, dairy industry, all of these different industries. And the reality is, these meetings with the USDA Dietary Guidelines Committee used to be completely blocked from the public. We couldn't see them, we couldn't get invited to them. It was industry only that was testifying to determine what gets fed to the public and what gets recommended to the public. They were sued by PCRM, which is the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, to allow doctors in the room to maybe weigh in on what's healthy for people to eat. And they do allow us, if we sign up ahead of time, we can get 3 minutes. Now, I've testified many times, and it makes no difference. They won't even change the guidelines to how much sugar kids should have because they haven't seen enough proof that sugar might be bad, in spite of the rising obesity epidemics and children getting diabetes that they used to never get until they were adults. So it is very hard to change things from the top down. Also, these recommendations are what affects what's covered by food stamps or paid for by WIC. And on top of that, whatever is not used up, like dairy, for example, is being over-subsidized. And whatever is not used up, the government just shoves it into schools. So we can just keep feeding our kids the things that are making them sicker and more obese. And it is getting worse and worse. When I was a child with lupus, it was unheard of. I was so young. I've treated children as young as 2. So it really does affect our entire community, social justice, what is paid for, what is given to our children. And what I found is the only differences that are really powerful, the ones that start within the community. Because when we push for what's right, that's when real change happens.
Amen. Dr. Goldner, we'll start with you on this one. What are some of the programs or work that you're doing in this area to tackle these kinds of issues?
So, as I mentioned, anytime I have an opportunity, I'm going to testify to bring attention to the public. But most of what I do is bringing the information directly to the public. I find that has been the best way. So I do a lot. I have an international practice, but I donate my time every week, all the time, to teaching people. I have free classes about nutrition. I teach people simple ways that they can reverse disease using supermarket foods, not needing to have supplements, not needing to do anything not needing to do anything fancy, but that we all have access to simple things. And I do free online Q&As every week. So if you follow me online, it's at Goodbye Lupus, and so I have free Q&As that are across all social media where I answer questions from people all over the world to help them solve the problems and start taking action. So I try to motivate and educate and give real life examples and support to people, because I do believe everybody should have the chance to get healthy and live their purpose the way I get to, the way she gets to, right? And I think that the best way we can deliver that is by reaching directly out to people.
Yes, Plant-Based really has multiple programs to help fight these crises. So the first thing is that we want to educate the public, because consumers and people cannot make a conscious choice that aligns with their value without the right information. And the meat and dairy industry has been doing a really good job at, misleading the public and with all of the advertisement and television and public schools and hospitals, and also of the labeling, like grass-fed or pasture-raised, yet to make consumers feel better about our choice and give us like an illusion, oh, we're making like a difference. But it's not true. So we want to raise awareness and give a counter narrative to that. So that's the first thing. And second is that we build a bottom-up pressure by asking for endorsements from individuals and businesses. Tell them about the effect of our food choices to the environment and ask for endorsements. And then when we go to city halls or we go to global talks like the COP, we present that to them and show them how many people are on board with are demanding the leaders to take actions, because we need help from the top down as well. Since 2021, our team has gotten 50 cities all over the world endorsing the treaty.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
It's such a great team, great group of dedicated people, and yes, they all started implementing plant-based initiatives. For example, like in Amsterdam, they're promoting Vegan Friday, they're ensuring that all public schools and hospitals always have plant-based options.
That's amazing.
Right, and they set a goal that by 2030 they're gonna move to 60% plant protein.
Wow.
Some example from in the U.S., West Hollywood. The city required that all city-sponsored events and meetings must be plant-based by default.
Wow.
So what it means is that people can opt for the meat option. They just have to request that. So we want to be inclusive, but also we want to lead by example,
That's right.
right?
Amen.
And the last thing is that we provide trainings and for all activists all over the world. And yes.
Great.
Okay, we're going to open it up for questions, and I'm going to take my prerogative as moderator and ask the first question.
The mic.
And we'll
Let me get the floating microphone.
and I'll ask the first question, then we'll turn it over to you guys. I'm very curious, Dr. Goldner, because I've heard some things. Is it true that doctors in medical school get very little academic training on nutrition? And if so, where do we turn to get good medical advice to protect our health?
Okay, so yes, the truth is that in medical school, we are not really trained in nutrition at all. And most people ask their doctor what to eat, and their doctor's learning it on social media just like they are. It's true, I'm sorry. What my medical education gave me was the ability to really understand the nutrition information when I chose to study it. So when I looked at foods, I could understand the biochemical pathways and how this type of food might increase the performance of your immune system, or understand the research studies showing, for example, how ingredients in broccoli kill cancer cells in a petri dish, right? Or how dairy products accelerate DNA replication of cancer cells, right? That my medical education gave me the ability to understand and create protocols that actually help people use nutrition to reverse disease. But in medical school, I learned if someone has heart disease, tell them not to eat butter, and if they have diabetes, tell them not to eat sugar, and that was about the sum total of it. So yes, it is very difficult, and one of the jokes I always say to the public is never trust your doctor if they tell you what to eat, understanding that I'm a doctor telling them what to eat, but generally speaking, it is difficult because even for patients that I see, you know, I've helped people reverse kidney failure and get off the transplant list, and I've literally had the nephrologist for one such patient tell me, well, it can't be the food, it must be a miracle. I'm like, now you're finding religion? Like, just, like, let's start really learning these things and understanding these things, but there's even some kinds of resistance to it. And I understand that. I think if I had not had my own personal experience of reversing my disease and getting well, and by the way, next week's 20 years on lupus free, so I'm very excited by that. Thank you. Because of that miracle, my miracle, got to speak to you this morning. Say hi, Solomon. And he's trying to make a difference in the world. But if that hadn't happened to me, I never would have even considered the impact of nutrition on disease, because since I was 16, I was told I had an incurable disease, and it was genetics. And it's just not the case. Genetics is like the menu of what could possibly happen, but it's your diet and lifestyle that places the order. And that was something I had to learn the hard way. So yes, it is difficult. I think you rely on your doctors as a resource for the best medical treatments for what you're going through, because medical treatments can still save your life. I wouldn't be sitting here without my doctors all those years ago. But when it comes to understanding diet, well, then you have to ask for, if they give you advice, especially different than mine, I always say, well, ask them how many people have you healed with that diet advice? And if they haven't, then you just smile and nod and you just, move on. But it is changing though. I've taught medical schools around the world now, and usually it's the medical students that invite me, not the teachers. But they want, the new generation of students want to learn, they want to know better. So I believe it is changing. It's just not fast enough for the people who are currently sick. But that is the big hurdle for sure.
Question.
Yes, doctor, so,
We're going to use a microphone so everyone can hear the question.
Yes, doctor. So a lot of people think that this vegan meat is also unhealthy. But is it healthier than, having these animals with drugs and anxiety and a cocktail of steroids? And the other question I have is, a lot of people are scared of soy, and if you can tell us about the soy myth as well.
Okay, so this is a climate conference, right? So first of all, eating plant-based meat is actually going to be beneficial to the climate. So I know people who came here who care about that. So absolutely switching from eating actual animals to eating fake vegan meat, which you all got to enjoy today, right, is better for the planet, and it's a good solution. It actually has been shown better for human health, which I wasn't sure at first because it's still processed, and meat industry loves to point that out. It has more ingredients in it. But there was a recent study called the Twin Study, where they took a group of identical twins, and that's really the best way to do science, looking at, what does nutrition do. And they put one on what should be a healthier diet, where it was fresh vegetables, and meat, not processed, not junky. And then they put the other ones on vegan diets, also with vegetables, and either things like tofu or even fake meat. And what they found was, in every single case, the plant-based or vegan twin had dramatic improvements in their cholesterol, their blood pressure, their weight, and when they looked at their genetics showed that the vegan twin had become younger genetically than the meat-based twin.
wow.
Bragging rights. So it actually, for me, was very eye-opening to see that wait a minute, even if they are eating some processed vegan meat,
Yeah.
their health benefited by getting rid of that meat, even though the other group was eating what's considered cleaner cuts of healthier meat, which I put in quotes because there's no healthy meat. So yes, it's still a better choice. Would I rather you have a kale salad? Yes.
Yeah.
But absolutely better for the climate, better for the animals, and better for people to have the vegan meat. So yeah, there's a lot of mythology there. I call it nutrition mythology. Soy products are eaten around the world, and they do not cause harm to people. Can someone have a food allergy? Yes. But it's processed soy products that were really indicated early on, like the soy curls.
Yeah.
But if you're eating tofu, edamame, tempeh, those are part of a healthy diet.
Thank you.
I had a question. Hi, everyone. My name is Sada. This question's for everybody on the stage. With the rise of food insecurity in regions like Sudan, Palestine, due to conflict and climate change, how can a movement towards ethical, sustainable food systems like plant-based diets help empower communities in those areas, right? Could it be part of a broader strategy for resilience and recovery? And this is like both environmentally and mentally, because I know you're a trauma expert too, doctor. So that's my question.
Yes, I totally believe so. I think we need to think about the connection between climate change and food scarcity, because when the climate is getting warmer and getting worse, that would exacerbate the food scarcity all over the world. And when people not having access to healthy food, they're gonna choose unhealthy food, and it just happens they're also unsustainable. So, and then that will create like a feedback loop to exacerbate of the chronic disease and also climate change. And also like part of creating a more resilient community is to building a healthier community. So food is more important than ever as a solution to improve our human health, so we can be healthier and be more resilient during disasters.
You covered it.
So next question, please.
You go ahead.
Hi, Michelle. Could you remind me your last name, ma'am?
Goldner.
Goldner. Hi, Dr. Goldner. I don't know how many people I've told in this room by now, but I have epilepsy, and I had, not my doctor, but one time I was picking up my prescriptions at an HEB, and the pharmacist just so happened to tell me I should try the keto-based diet, and it actually stopped my epilepsy. And I was wondering, I tell my boyfriend to buy us all the time about how, I want to stop eating meat, but I have to keep my weight on. What would you suggest for someone on a more fixed income as far as the plant-based meats go? You said you're vegan, right? Yes. How would you? What type of other meat could you suggest in order to replace that protein or those calories?
Okay, so first of all, I'm really glad that you found a solution for epilepsy. That's really, yeah, and there's solid research to support that. And the great news is you can do keto vegan very easily and do it more healthfully. We've actually, in our practice, had folks with epilepsy who became seizure-free and stayed seizure-free for years after switching to a hyper-nourishing plant-based diet. And actually, one gentleman, we had a relapse after 2 years after getting his license back. It was after eating meat again. He started the seizures all over again. So we know health-wise this is a better choice because it's not just about the seizures, but also about your heart, also about cancer risks, all about everything else. So, so that's one part of it. In terms of replacing meat, you don't have to do that. I think that's also something that's just a belief system created by the emphasis on animal products from just, media and propaganda and all of that, that people often think they have to replace it. If you're a smoker, you don't have to replace cigarettes with something, right? We have to just breathe. So really removing meat is the best thing we can do. And if you are, you don't really have to worry about weight if you're eating a pretty broad plant-based diet. So we haven't found people had to be strict keto in order to remove seizures while eating a plant-based diet. But you can. I mean, our protocol uses vegetables, and we have a high raw protocol. We use vegetables, we use chia seeds, flax seeds. All those are healthy fats. Avocados are healthy fats, and they don't create inflammation, and they don't create heart disease and diabetes and other things. So there's ways where you can still get your fats. You can still, and you'll add in nutrients, because vegetables will not raise sugar, right? You can stay keto and eat as many vegetables as possible and get vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and all the things your body needs to keep you as healthy as humanly possible.
Okay.
So you could use, if you really want to do something that's like, I want a meat another option for meat, tofu is the best thing you can do. It's super high in protein, and it's not going to clog your arteries, and it's not going to be harmful to your organs.
Or the planet. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And you can cook beans in a trillion different ways.
Could we make this the last question because we'll run out of time?
Okay, this question is for Bang. Bang, can you share what progress the plant-based treaty campaign has made so far in Houston? And what challenges or milestones should people know about?
Oh, yes, definitely. Our team started in April this year, but we've been making great progress. I mean, this climate summit is the evidence for that, because we've been running this summit for like 8 years now, and for the first time ever, we're serving plant-based meal by default, thanks to our advocacy, and also thanks to the openness of everyone attending for choosing the plant-based options. And I'm so glad to hear everyone is enjoying the food. And also, this is the first time that we got to talk about food in this conversation.
Yay.
So that's another first. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, and yeah, we've been collaborating with our community organizations, like for example, Elite Votes. 2 weeks ago, they decided to serve 100% plant-based meals to all attendees. So I'm very thankful for Elite Votes for being such a young leader organization in our community. And also, we have a great news from the Harris County yesterday. Our team applied for a grant from the county. We can get up to $10,000, and through this grant and program, we will get to work with Title I elementary schools using. Thank you so much.
Great, that's great.
Yeah. We will be using interactive activities and coloring books to teach kids healthy eating habits.
Amazing.
So yes, we're very excited about that, and I'm very confident that next year we'll have many, many more great news to share with everyone. Thank you.
Awesome. Way to go.
Way to go, way to go.
Okay, so thank you guys for being here, and could we get each of you to give us, in the last couple minutes we have, any kind of closing remark or something we could take away from this?
Yes, thank you. Yes, definitely, everyone can take actions to be part of this movement. So first thing, if you haven't endorsed the plant-based treaty, please do so. And you can also send letters to your city councilors and talk to your community leaders about plant-based treaty and our mission and the importance of shifting our food system towards planet forward. And also, you can try to encourage more plant-based food in your daily life. So it's very important for us to create a demand for plant-based food. And yes, if you're having a kid at school and if you're not happy with the food serving at school, please talk to the school about that and raise your voice, because your voice matters.
Awesome. That's a really good
That was
point.
so good. You gotta applaud that. I mean, you can.
Bang, bang.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think what's important to me is that every one of you realize that you have the power to make this difference, that you can make a choice. Every time you order a meal, every time you go to the store, you have the power to make a different choice. And you can choose to go along with things, you can choose the easier way, or you can choose to do the right thing. And the right thing's always a little harder, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
But it means something and it's worth something. We have a generation of children right now that are the sickest generation we've ever had. They're not predicted to outlive their parents. It used to go the other way around. So we have to do this. We have to do this for us. We have to do it for the planet. We have to do it for our children. And we have to each make it our personal responsibility to do so, because it really is in each of our hands. And when we all join hands together, that's when real change happens.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Again, thank you guys for being here. Could we get one last round of applause to thank both of you?
Sophia, Bang, Dr. Brooke, thank y'all. Got some cards for you.